Welcome back to J All Day, everyone. In today's episode, we're going to discuss me and Tom Burt. The dad cast is here for the week hanging out. We have a survivor pool, right? So we're in it so far. We got 5 W's. So far, we've used the Ravens, the Cowboys, the Chiefs, the Eagles, and the Dolphins. We move on to week 6. We're going to go through some of the games and let you know what team we're going to be potentially taking in our week 6 survivor pool. We do a survivor pool every year, so let's get into it. All right, some of the biggest spreads of the week. We got to start out with the Chiefs at the Broncos. It's 10.5, but unfortunately, we already used the Chiefs, so we can't go them. Ravens and Titans, I'm not touching that game. No way.
That's not a good one.
Yeah, Commanders at Falcons. I'm not touching that game either. Any point spread that's under 4.5, we pretty much stay away from those games, and we like to stay away from teams on the road too, unless we absolutely have to. I did like the Vikings against the Bears initially, but Justin Jefferson is hurt. That is Kirk Cousins' number 1 target by far, and now we're out on that game. I think the spread opened up last week around -6. It's down to -2.5.
It's a big drop.
Yeah, it's a big drop. In a week, I don't like that game. Seahawks-Bengals is another pick'em game, -3. We're not into that. 49ers at the Browns. We like the 49ers on the road, so we could use the 49ers this week, but we always like to plan out 3, 4, 5 weeks down the road to see if there's a speed bump where we got to figure out what we're going to do, right? So we kind of narrow it down to 3 or 4 teams, and then we'll go out to week 7 and week 8 and see if we can play it out for a couple weeks so we know exactly where we're at. We like the Dolphins too, so if you haven't used the Dolphins yet, guys, that's the pick of the week, right? If you haven't used the Dolphins.
Dolphins are definitely, but we used the Dolphins already.
So what, -13.5, that's a killer spread, right? So if you haven't used the Dolphins, guys, by all means. Colts and Jaguars. The line's 4.5, but I don't like that game at all.
That's too iffy.
That's too iffy. This is a tough week, especially if you use some of the big dogs already, right? So that's why you got to be strategic. When you're in a survivor pool, you can't just do week by week. You really got to look at what's going on the next week. Then we have Saints at Texans, -1.5. We're not in on that. Patriots, Raiders. If I had a gun to my head, I might take the Raiders because the Patriots just look absolutely terrible. Eagles at the Jets. The Jets have a really good defense. This could be a trap game. So the Eagles had a very tough game out west, and then they got to fly back east to play the Jets at home. The Eagles should win this game. Their defense should be good enough to beat them, but you never know. Lions, Buccaneers. That's another tough game, -3. This is the game that we're circling right now is the Giants at the Bills. Daniel Jones is hurt. The Bills' defense is banged up. Their linebackers are hurt. Their secondary's hurt. But we don't think the Giants have enough weapons to stay with the Bills' offense. They're going to want to bounce back, man. Diggs was really pissed on the sideline last week after that fumble. Josh Allen, he's been kind of hit or miss this year. He's had some really good games, but some weeks he's not looked so good. So that makes us a little bit nervous.
They got to get the rushing game going.
Yeah, they really need to get Cook going. 61 carries, 300 yards on the season, but only 1 touchdown. You need to utilize those running backs more in the red zone, man. I think Josh Allen had more rushing yards than everyone else on the team last week. So my dad was saying, they got to get the rushing game going if they want to win.
It's going to open up the passing.
Absolutely. And then we have the Cowboys at the Chargers, another game we don't necessarily love. So we have San Francisco over Cleveland and the Bills at home over the Giants. We always like picking the home teams over the road teams. But let's just go to week 7 just to see what's going on in some of these games. We got Jaguars, Saints, that's a close game. Raiders, Bears, close game. Browns, Colts, close game. Then we got Bills on the road at the Patriots. Division games are always tough too, man. AFC East, NFC West. Any division games, we kind of like to stay away from them. We got another division game. Commanders, Giants, Falcons, Buccaneers. Man, next week is really tough, guys. Lions, Ravens. Steelers, Rams, Cardinals, Seahawks, Packers, Broncos, Chargers, Chiefs, and Dolphins, Eagles. And then we have the 49ers at the Vikings. So what I think we're going to do is instead of using the 49ers this week.
Wait for next week.
Wait for next week. The Vikings are going to be without Justin Jefferson for 4 weeks. So I think we're going to take the Bills at home against the Giants in week 6. And then in week 7, we'll use that 49ers card against the Vikings. So that will hopefully get us through week 6 and week 7 unscathed. And then we can move on to the second half of the year and it's really going to get tough because then teams start going on buys. That's when it gets really hard for these survivor pools. Teams that you haven't used go on the bye, and then you're really limited on what teams you can pick. All right, so week 6, survivor pool. We're going Buffalo Bills at home to get right over the Giants. Thanks for tuning in to Jay All Day. Tom Burt's here for the Dadcast, hanging out. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and we'll continue to bring you our survivor picks each and every week. Peace!